I'm Mark Peel, I'm a Professor of History and I'm based largely at Clayton here at Monash, and I applied for Citation for Outstanding Contributions to Student Learning from the Carrick Foundation in 2008 and was successful. I also applied for and was successful in the same year in an application for the Vice Chancellor's Teaching Award. I actually first worked at Monash in 1990 and 1991. I was a tutor in American history, a half-time tutor. And I then left and went to Canberra for about 3 years, and I came back in 1995. And part of the reason I came back was because one of the things that had really impressed me about the Department of History as it then was at Monash, and also the Faculty of Arts here, was this was a place that really valued good teaching and really valued energetic and enthusiastic teaching. And I knew that's what I wanted to do, and so I was very, very pleased to be able to come back. I was encouraged to apply for a citation award by my faculty. The faculty has not tended to have a lot of applicants for these kinds of awards in the past, and when I was Associate Dean of Teaching in the faculty in 2006 and 2007, I very much encouraged us to take a more systematic approach to translating the teaching excellence we have in the faculty into nominations and applications for these awards. Because I think it's actually very valuable, and it's very important for the teachers and the faculty to know that their work is recognised and that it's possible for them to seek this kind of recognition and be successful. And in a way, I found myself hoist on my own petard, having suggested this, being told that I should be one of the people who did it first. So I was encouraged to do an application, and I did one this year. It seems to me with the Carrick citations, and in particular, what was useful for me is both having a fairly long track record, I suppose, of teaching, and I think especially being able to talk about making an imaginative contribution to history teaching. So seeing an issue or a problem and coming up with something that can solve it, that can address it. And I think for the Carricks as well, what's important is being able to show how what you're talking about can relate to other teachers in your field, but other teachers across the university sector. I think that the Carrick is particularly interested in aspects of good teaching that other people can take up and transform in their own disciplines and their own universities. So I think that was particularly crucial for the Carricks. The Vice Chancellor's Award, I think, tends to emphasise probably a broader base, but also that imaginative approach to a problem, something that can be generalised across the university. The commitment for the application, it's one of those things, it's a little like a research grant application. Your first one is very hard, and you have no real idea what you're meant to do, and the criteria kind of look really confusing, and you're not quite sure what fits into what criteria. But actually having written a draft and having got some feedback from people and doing others then becomes much easier once you start to understand the different kinds of information that belong in different criteria and so on. So I actually, in a sense, was surprised at how quickly the application took shape once I'd got over that initial disquiet about what you're actually meant to do. And so I think and then the commitment I found very useful. I think it can be often very useful to write these kinds of applications because it does make you focus a little on what you're doing, on what you've done, on the improvements you've made. So I certainly didn't find it an onerous process. The help I got was tremendous. I do think that it is often quite difficult for academics to write in the mode of, to write well in the mode of applications. I think that we often find it difficult to articulate achievements, to talk about what we do, things that we regard as second nature that actually have to be explained and so on. So it's actually a process where you do need a good deal of help. I got initially some very important help from people in my faculty, from the dean, from the associate deans, from my head of school, who gave very good assistance, and from other senior colleagues in my area. And having sort of bashed into that kind of shape, I was then very fortunate to get a lot of good help from Judith Roche-Kust at Cal. She was great, and really all those things like, this doesn't belong here, it needs to move up here, and it doesn't fit this criteria. And Judith actually suggested dropping an entire criteria because it wasn't really all that important. I didn't need it. And so on both the applications, the help I got there was great.